Powkiddy V90S that was just released, has just arrived in time for an unboxing right after this. Hey fam, Swati tu konkret Pinik here, and as I mentioned in the intro, the Powkiddy V90S was just released and it just arrived today, so no wheel of review this week. We'll be diving right into this because I consider this a priority device since it was just released from Powkiddy. So let's take a quick look around the box. They are famous for their minimal yellow boxes, so can't get much more simple than that. Granted, sounds solid as it is, so that's a good step. Nothing on this side. On this side, we just have keep away from small children. The thin film may cling to nose and mouth and prevent breathing. Good to remember. Nothing on this side. This device does come in 5 devices. This device does come in 5 different colors: black, yellow, black and white, gray, which is like the DMG color, and red. You can see that there's a little mark on the gray because that's the one I chose. Again, nothing on this side either, nothing on the back. Like I say, they can't get much more simple on it, but from what I've seen, they're famous for these simple boxes. So this is my first time opening this up. So let's go ahead and slide this off to the side here. Let's see here, Powkiddy Game Machine Product Warranty Card. I don't know who still fills out product warranty cards these days, but in case you do, it does come with one. And there we go. There's the cover, V90S. Again, kind of simplistic. You can see a picture of the device with a bunch of Chinese. So let's flip it over here. Oh, that looks better. That's in English. Now I can understand it. Got our precautions or warnings, the functions of the device, your shortcuts, great to know, low battery, installing new games, simulator or emulation settings, basic parameters. So better than some, but not the most extensive. Well, sorry about that bump there. We'll be comparing it to the RG35XX by Anbernic. As I said, this is a brand new device. I ordered it as soon as it came out, so you're seeing it at the same time I do. Actually, let's wait to check that out. We have our little tray. And then we have a USB-A to USB-C. Looks like a relatively long cable. So can't complain about that. I wish we got a screen protector or something extra in the box, maybe a case, because they do offer a little pouch case. But, you know, it is what it is when you get these entry-level devices especially. I'm going to put that there. And again, you can see Anbernic doesn't really, other than putting it on the battery compartment, they don't put any branding here, versus Powkiddy proudly puts their brand here. So let's take a look here. You can kind of see the hinges look quite similar. It's very close to the same size, which makes sense because the screen size is roughly the same. So what do we have on this side? Let's take a look here. The Anbernic has the primary internal SD card and for operating system and games, and an external card slot right here with a 3.5mm head jack on the base, whereas Powkiddy does nothing. Powkiddy puts micro SD card slot here with a volume rocker on this side, versus Anbernic just does a volume rocker. What about on our other side here? So on our other side we have reset, which they also have, power button, which they also have, and their other micro SD card slot here. So that's what they've done there. And if you look, kind of similar on the back, but not too. But there is definitely some subtle differences. You can see because there are 2 USB-C ports here. They've labeled them for us DC, which is your charging USB-C port, and OTG, which is your USB-C for video out, versus Anbernic gave us a micro HDMI and a USB-C. So a little bit different there. Just have to remember which one is which when you go to charge, because only if you plug into the DC port will it charge. Oops, again, sorry. I'm going to have to move that maybe. And then if we look here, we have same type of buttons for shoulders. Again, No analog, they're just pure digital, of course, because of the location, and they're stacked rather than not stacked, but a different click. I don't know if the microphone's picking that up, but so let's take a look here. The Anbernic, and then the Powkiddy V90S. A different click. This D-pad is very clicky. This is kind of mushy. Ooh, very clicky though. Different tone, but definitely very clicky. I kind of like having the drawn out rather than circular buttons. I like kind of the oblong shape. What about you? Do you prefer circle, start and select, or like old school Nintendo? Definitely feels different because, again, different shaped buttons. These are more recessed inside where you feel your finger kind of go in, whereas this is directly right on top. Okay, there's the film. So let's go ahead and, there we go. Beautiful. Okay, let's turn it on. See if she's got juice for the first time. There we go, Powkiddy. Got a little LED light here, loading Predecessor. Predecessor is a very nice operating system. So give them kudos for that. The one thing is this does include Wi-Fi. The Anbernic does include Wi-Fi, whereas this does not include Wi-Fi without a dongle. Ooh, Predecessor, ready to retro. Definitely kind of interesting having this area here. It looks like you could find some custom stickers relatively soon for some custom looks there. Okay, now we got some audio. Okay, one thing I do like is they at least give us an indication of our volume levels. Okay, good. So it's kind of interesting here. It's telling us like for example, the SNK Neo Geo Pocket came out in 1998. Shows us we currently have 128 games. The SNK Neo Geo, the home console version, came out in 1990 with 152 games on here. PlayStation 143, or 43 rather. So like this, it'll be interesting to play PlayStation games since there are no thumbsticks on this device. But you have to remember that the first generation of PlayStation did not come with thumbsticks. So that was added later. So you can definitely find some older games that would work. Again, PSP, because they had the nub, be interesting to play games to see if they've made it where you can play those games well. Commander Genius. The Commander Genius team, okay. All games, favorites, arcades, other arcades. Lots of arcades. Atari 2600. Okay, good. The Wonder Swan. It's an interesting looking device. Look, you got 2 D-pads on that device. So, needless to say, I do not have 2 D-pads, so that would be quite interesting. Of course, got some more Capcom game consoles. Pico 8. If you're not familiar with Pico 8, Pico 8 is a fantasy console. Fantasy console is that there are real specs for the console, but there was never a console actually made for it, never a true Pico 8 handheld console. But because they've created those specs, then they have the ability to have people create specific games for it. And of course, these are meant to be like NES or below type quality visually games. But so they don't take up much memory. They run on almost any hardware and makes it really nice. So that's why it says fantasy. PGM, I'm guessing was a arcade machine because you can see the joysticks and the 6 button there. If you save screenshots, that's where you can see your screenshots. PC Engine, nice, okay. Game & Watch, Nintendo's original handheld. The family computer, which was the Nintendo Famicom in Japan. You can see it looks different than the NES, which is the same console, just different cartridges and stuff, but the same underlying technology. So that's quite interesting. 1983. You can see they even had like a place you could dock your controllers on that original Nintendo in Japan. Kind of cool. I wish we had that on the NES in North America. Game Boy, Super Famicom. Again, you can see the Super Nintendo. This was called the Super Nintendo in North America, but Super Famicom in Japan. You can see it looks different than our Super Nintendo that we received in North America. Let's get that so I don't get dinged with anything. Okay, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Beats of Rage, Open Par, which is okay, is ports, and then we have more ports. Okay, interesting. Sega Master System, Mega Drive. Mega Drive is what Europe called the Sega Genesis in North America. Sega Game Gear, Sega Saturn, Sega Dreamcast. So it'll be interesting to test out these games to see how they perform, like God of War, for example, on here for the PSP, got about 30 frames per second, so I'd be interested to see how it works. Okay, good. So yeah, I'm interested in that. Let's see here. Is it going to be A? Yeah, okay, it is. So some games have box art, but other games do not. Space Shooter for $2. Interesting. Let's give that a try. I have never heard of that game. So you can. It only has one stop, which is fine. It's kind of the stop you would want when you're playing this type of console, but no. See, it's not a perfect there, and as soon as you do it, wants to bounce back. All right, let's try a new game. I love these difficulty levels. I'm not going to say the first one there, and then we have competent, insane, and then there's die trying. I love their sense of humor. Since it's my first try, I'll try the one I'm not going to say. All right. Interesting. Let me know if you've ever played this game before, if this looks familiar to you. Oh, got punched in the face. The bully hurt him. Oh, pulling his arm. See if I can skip it. Nope, I have to go through the comic story. Now he's eating his lunch. This is just too funny, I think. I like how it's 12:34. Oh, he's gonna be a Japanese samurai, and he's gonna start lifting weights. Oh, look at him now. He's big and hulking. Nope. All right, interesting. I love the creativity. This must have been one of the smaller, like Vita Mini or PSP type mini type games where they would have been smaller. Let's see, campaign, survival, achievements, audio. Okay, let's try campaign. Okay, skip. Oh, nope, I didn't mean to skip that far. Yeah. Let's. Okay, so it's kind of like asteroids. Wait for it, wait for it. Don't want to. Whoa! Okay. Okay. Kind of like it. It's interesting. Oh, even though it's not easy, but it's nice that there's some momentum to the ship. You know, you can't just stop it. It slides a little bit further beyond. Kind of interesting. Can I hit the planet? Yeah, I can. All right, good. Okay, the shoulder buttons are super clicky, but the face buttons aren't too bad. And I am... I am dying here. Oh, but I got a checkpoint reached. Hey, all right. I don't know how that happened, but all right. Let's see here. Does that go back? Yeah, okay. Select start at the same time. brings you back. Okay, so yeah, just remember A is your enter button, B is your back button. So yeah, has nice little rubber feet here. How does it sound closing? Good. I wonder if it goes to sleep after a little bit, because it didn't go to sleep there. Let's just go ahead and turn off that. There we go. Little kind of clackiness. So it's roughly the same, almost the exact same thickness. It's almost perfect, honestly. So it's a clone. A little bit different, but very, very close. So give me a week or so to play around with this Powkiddy V90S to give you my short-term review. And of course, I'll play with it beyond that as well for my long-term review in 3 to 6 months. But let me know if you have any questions down in the comment section below, or if you want me to play any specific games from any specific consoles. I'll be happy to see what I can do. And as always, this has been P-Nick.